Well, hello there. I am back. And as you can probably tell from the thumbnail, today's project is a blue whale. I chose this because it's different and I liked it and thought that the Chameleon mica powders would do a nice job. And so without further ado, let's go and make it. So this is today's project. And this tickled my fancy, an expression that is very English. I've seen other people do it and I thought, yeah, I'd like to have a go at that. And I decided I would do it in Chameleon powders. So off we go. Some of you who've watched me before may notice the blue plastic thingies that I'm wearing. I don't know if you are aware, but I am very allergic to resin. Had a very exciting episode with that, allergy-wise. And I try to do everything I can to keep myself and epoxy resin strangers. These blue thingies are to close the gap between the white Tyvek suit and the nitrile gloves. Because the nitrile gloves, they don't really come up that far on the wrist. And even if you're extra careful, things like resin, it gets everywhere, and I mean everywhere. When I had an allergic reaction to it, I dabbed it behind my ears, I dabbed it on my forehead, on my chest, side of my neck. So, yeah, it's one of those things I don't personally want to interact with, so I gear up. And if you've seen previous videos of me before, in my full gear, it looks as if I'm about to attend a hazardous materials scene. So as part of my kit for safety, when I'm using mica powders, I also wear a mask, and you can see a glimpse of it just there at the top of the screen, because this stuff flies around everywhere. You don't want to be inhaling that any more than you want to be touching the resin with your bare skin. So just continue to cover the whale in these beautiful mica powders, and they really are quite stunning. This is one of my favorite brands. These are very effective Chameleon mica powders, and they've got a lot of different colors, so that's why I chose this particular brand. So parts of this are not easy to reach with a brush, the tail. So I just poured in the mica powder, a bit of a waste, but I didn't know really how to get it down there. So I just poured it in and filled in a little bit more with the brush and helped to push it down to the end, and then just moved it around in the hope that the mica powder would stick to the mould. It did work, by the way. and I always just tip out the excess, otherwise it just floats to the top of the resin. Not that it would matter, because it would be on the base, so you wouldn't even see that. That little white void there is because I tried to clean some of the blue off his sort of chin area where it's traditionally white with a wet wipe, and managed to scuff up the blue. So that's what that void is for. A little bit easier to put the white in, but it's still a bit awkward. Yeah, if you have brushes with really long handles, they're excellent for doing things like this. And as usual, all the things that I use in my video, I will put in the description underneath the video so that you can see what supplies I've used, in case there's any particular colours or tools that you like. If I can find them, to put a link in, I always do. This is the lid. And by the way, the lid only fits on one way. It has a thin end and a chunkier end, so you can only put it on one way. So this looks like a mountain, actually. It's his top fin. And there you are, two pieces. Now when you use Chameleon mica powders, it's always best to have a dark background, which helps to show the colours. I usually do black, but in this case, since I'm using blue-green based mica powders, I'm doing blue for the whale, which also seems appropriate. Trying to get the resin into the tail is potentially tricky because you've got mica powder down there, and I pinched it very gently just to make sure that some of the mica powder was taking up the resin as well without actually disturbing it. Fingers crossed on a project like this, because you never know, you do all this work and then you find that by pinching, you know, the mica powder together inside the mold, you ruin it. But the gods were smiling and it worked out okay. So this is the lid. Just tap it a little bit to get it down in the top of the mountain. Yeah, I did have to make up another batch because I didn't make quite enough. If you make 15 ounces, you'll be good. Okay, now for the exciting part. This is going to be quite heavy. Let's see if she can do it. Alright, I think I'll just loosen it all the way around. That'll make life a bit easier. Well, it's quite flexible, so it shouldn't be too bad. Alright. Roll it off, I think is the best way. Roll it off his nose. Okay. Oh. Oh, that's in there. and do things like this. Try not to rip the mould. Okay. There we go. Now his tail. So we did get it off with the help of my husband. It's got a little ding in his tail, but all in all, it's very nice. It's quite deep in there too. So his little face. And I will probably put some black marker or something to make his eyes stand out a little better. And then the lid. Nice details too on the fins and the tail. Yeah, very happy with that. Very nice. I should probably file that off a little bit too because it's got a bit of a ledge on it. All in all, I really like it. As long as you've got someone with strong hands, you can release it from the mould. Well, there we have it. Finished project. And as you can see, it's fairly large. It's really nice. It's different Trinket box. And as I said in the video, the lid only goes on one way. Towards the head, it's a bit thicker. And towards the tail, it's tapered off a bit more. So you can only put it on one way. Which is good for people like me, because I'm sometimes a bit challenged. There's a lot of detail on this, and I thought that it would be nice to bring some of that detail out. So near his head there are some little dots, and I just livened those up a little bit more so they would stand out with a gold pen, and did the same with the ones that run down his tail. Also, I did black Sharpie to make his eye stand out a little better, and the same with his mouth. And to finish it off, with most of my projects, I put some felt on the bottom. I just stick it on with glue. And the reason I do that is it finishes the project, but resin can sometimes be a little bit sharp, so it helps to take the edge off some of those pieces. And it also saves surfaces. So it's just nice to have this nice little felt barrier on the bottom there. I think he would probably look quite nice amongst some blue planters. I think he would look interesting. And he's unique. I mean, I've never seen anything like it before. I really liked it. It spoke to me. And inside there, it really is quite deep. I mean, goes that deep up to my finger. So it's a proper Trinket box. I hope you enjoyed that. I certainly did have a lot of fun making this, and I was very pleased with the end result, even though it was a bit of a challenge to get out of the mould. And I had to get a helper, also known as my husband, to take off the final bit of his tail. But all in all, extremely pleased with this. And I think if you make this, the possibilities are endless. You could do any kinds of colours. Doesn't mean to say you have to have a blue one. And you could have a rainbow coloured one. That would be fun. So, until next time, and you'll find out what I'm doing then, come over onto my channel and join me. Thank you very much for watching. And until next time, bye for now.